We are going to go ahead and begin this great celebration for Nick signing to Buffalo Bulls. So I got a little bit of an education before I came in here that it's the Buffalo Bulls. But these moments truly are something that we love to celebrate with the student because we like to feel like we've been a part of this and partnering with the family and with you in arriving right here today and everything that's happened along the way to get to this moment. So I want to recognize some of those partners in the room. So Dr. Wool, our superintendent of schools, who is here with us today. And I'm just going to kind of make my way around the room. We have our director of guidance, Mrs. Kelly Malcheski, there in the back. Right up from her is our president of our school board, Mrs. Kozak. So thank you for coming today. Working all over to the right, Dr. Ladewig, who is one of our assistant superintendents here at the high school, at the district, sorry. And then keep on going. You're very familiar with Mr. Mastroda, one of our assistant principals here at the high school. Continuing on, we have Mrs. Griffa, our other assistant principal. Hiding back in there is Robin, who you know from our athletic office, working there to support Mr. Galano and all the students there. And then continuing on, we have Mr. Danny Gonzalez hiding back in there. Hiding outside of the door I just saw is Dr. Tyler, who is our coordinator of IB, which is a program that Nick has participated in throughout his junior and senior year now. And obviously you know your coach there. So he will be getting introduced in a moment, Mr. Matt Sirocco. Jay Sirocco, sorry.
She knows the difference.
I do know the difference. Then of course Mr. Galano, who's here with us today. So as I said already, it's a partnership, right? Between the school, between the family, and more importantly, between Nick. So I just got a great story that I was reminded of today of what a partnership like that looks like. So Nick has been a very determined student about what his goals have been, not just academically, but obviously his athletic goals. And what does it look like to marry those together? So when he came and maybe mom had reached out to his school counselor, Mrs. Chilela, and said like, you know, hey, we know he has the English Regents exam and he's got invited to a camp at Buffalo. And that's really important. So Mrs. Chilela took on the advocacy for that, right? So she goes to the director of guidance who comes to me and says, how do we get both to happen for him? Very fortunate our director of guidance is from Buffalo. So she reached out to her high school principal that she had in high school. And you actually took the English Regents exam in her former high school because your family was willing to get you there on that day. And it's just really stories like that. It's that personalized, it's that individualized to each student, and it's not just a no. And Nick has taken advantage of all of those opportunities here. He is taking currently 5 IB classes and an AP course in calculus. And taking a very rigorous caseload with that, with all of those courses between economics and physics. So he's really helped take advantage of those opportunities and made this moment happen for himself by his work and by his determination. So congratulations to you on everything that you've done here and what you're going to be doing as you leave us and go on to play at Buffalo. So.
I'll be brief, because we have Coach here that's going to speak in depth about Nick, I think. But Nick started as a soccer player, correct? So I saw him on the field kicking the soccer ball, and I was like, oh, he's highly talented. And later in that same year, Coach Sirocco came to me and said, I think we got our kicker. I was like, we do? And he said, Nick Reed. I said, I think he plays soccer. He goes, no, he's going to be playing football with us. And I was like, Mr. Sirocco says this about a lot of people, that he's going to get to play football, and I said, well, let's get him to play. I saw Nick working at his craft constantly. As many of you know, Nick is very focused on his craft and has a tremendous social media following. And what amazes me about Nick is his selflessness. So an example of that this year was we had low numbers on the varsity team. Nick was our scout team for those that don't know, or the scout team is basically gives the look for the other team. So the starters go up against the scout team. Most times a kid like Nick would be sitting on the side signing autographs, but Nick was not. Nick is one of the best athletes we had, and he was able to run on the scout team. So for offense, when we were working on our offense, he was playing defensive back, and he gave us a phenomenal look. And Coach Sirocco could tell you it is the most difficult thing to get a real good look when you have low numbers. So a small example like that is something that Nick was willing to do. Nick didn't want to sit on the side. Nick wanted to get his teammates better, and whatever was asked of Nick, he was going to do. And as far as the accolades and the on-field stuff, it speaks for itself. I go to AD meetings section-wide, and they know you. They know you as the kicker from Harrison. So you've made a name for yourself, and that's not just because you can kick a ball through goalposts. It's also how you carry yourself and who you are as a person. So take this in. Obviously, take in all your support that you have here. Your family is a massive support. We know that. Your friends, family, and then obviously the great organization. You had a principal up in Buffalo talking to our guidance, director of guidance. There's a whole network here to support you, and we want you to know that we're happy that you're moving on, but we're also sad to see you go. But please remember what you learned here and all the life lessons that you took. And with that, I'm going to introduce Coach Sirocco and his daughter.
She can stay. How's this? There's not, there's a lot we can say about Nick Reed. If you ever wondered what feeling like a celebrity would feel like, I mean, it's Nick. You walk around Harrison, I think everybody knows who you are. Everybody knows what you look like. Everyone knows your name. From the elementary schools to grown adults that are out in town. A lot of people are in awe of who you are, what you've accomplished. When I tell them your grades and that you're a scholar athlete, it's pretty impressive. You are the role model for all young children in this town. I have a young son who plays a ton of football. I often go out and I hear him with his friends and I hear them say, "Oh, Nick Reed for the kick, Nick Reed for the kick." Like, it's pretty amazing. But the way that you approach this game, the way that you've approached, working with the youth players, it really makes a tremendous impact. I don't know if most of you know, but Nick's been working with a couple of youth players. He's been working with one especially, trying to find the next Nick Reed or find the next kicker for our program. It just goes without saying, how selfless Nick is, and he's really here. He wants what's best for Harrison football. I remember when you were a freshman, you were about 5'3", 130 pounds. I had my doubts of bringing you up on varsity as a kicker only, and you said you wanted to do it. And it was probably the best decision we've ever made. You've transformed into an amazing captain, an amazing leader. I think this program really took off this year because, you and a few of your other friends had a vision, and you followed out through that vision. You guys worked really hard. You held everybody accountable. You saw how much hard work it took, from your freshman year to your senior year, and that right there, the work that you put in the weight room, the work that you put off the field. I think everyone sees that, not just football players, but all athletes see that. And to me, that's going to be your biggest, that's going to be your legacy here. That's going to be the biggest impact that you've made in Harrison, was all the hard work that you've done up until this point, and you've got a lot more hard work to go. But I think you've done a lot to get you here. You deserve it. I think you owe your parents a huge thank you, for kind of chauffeuring you around the country. To kick in these showcases and things like that, because not a lot of people have that opportunity. I think you've been given an opportunity, and you've run with it. Talk quickly about stats. In the last 2 years, Nick's missed, and if you don't know, Nick's only missed one extra point in 2 years. He's 70 for 71 in extra points. It's pretty phenomenal. I'm going to be holding my breath probably every single extra point next year, or maybe we're going for 2 every extra point. I'm not really sure, but he is Mr. Automatic, and I know he's going to sorely be missed. As a football coach and a head coach, and worrying about your defense. It's nice when the other team has to go 80 yards to start a drive 80% of the time. That's an insane number. Your kickoffs, you've worked on them tremendously. It's, kicking a football is kind of like a golf swing. I'm pretty terrible at it, but you've got it down. You've got it down pat. And Nick was able to, really balance working with the team, but also working on his craft, during practice individually. I don't think we'll ever see another player like Nick Reed come through this program, but hopefully, that young boy that you're mentoring, will step up and maybe fill those shoes one day. But we're really, really going to miss you. I think you've got some really great years ahead of you. You're in a really good place right now, and we're just excited to kind of watch you through this journey because it's going to be a fun one. So congrats to you, congrats to mom and dad, sister, grandma, congrats. Thank you.
I wanted to add, your track coaches actually individually texted me saying they have a meet that they're going to, but they wanted to be here for your support. So that also says something. You picked up track when? As a
last spring.
Yeah, and last spring you ended up being a big competitor for us. And for those coaches to see that you were signing for football and wanting to support you shows your reach and that you're valued here. So without further ado, I know you're a man of many words. If you want to say a few words, please feel free.
Yeah, thank you everyone for being here today, all my friends and everyone here supporting me. Superintendent Dr. Wolf, thank you. Principals, all the assistant principals, everybody here, athletic directors, Coach Sharako, my parents, thank you for all your support throughout the whole thing. Grandma, my sister, thank you guys for everything. If I missed anyone, sorry. Yep.
I heard Grandma, you're a good baker.
Yes.
The big man in the front was telling me that. So without further ado, we're going to make this official. So you're going to sign both those documents. Make sure you spell your name right.
That's the grandmother.
I think he's thinking about the date. He's sweating.
Yeah.
And for a small token of gratitude, here is something for you to keep. It's a little thank you for being a part of the Husky tradition and pride, and we look forward to all you have in front of you. So without further ado, we're going to do some pictures. Youngsters, stay here. Don't move. I'm under strict orders. Coach Ramadi, thanks for coming. Yeah, give a round of applause. High school administration will just come up first and take a picture. Dr. Wolf, come up.